Hello friends, today we are going to see how we can create PAT in Snowflake and how we can control PAT, default expiry date and all using authentication policy. So let's move towards the Snow site. So for this I will first create the authentication policy, and for my authentication policy I am creating default expiry date as 1 and max expiry date is 2. So you can create an authentication policy to control how your PAT should look like, and you can also enforce the default expiry days and the maximum expiry days using authentication policy. So if I don't create authentication policy or don't apply the authentication policy to at account level or user level, by default if I create a PAT it will be valid for 15 days, right? So let me just create the authentication policy. To create authentication policy I need to use the database and schema because it's a schema object. So now you can see that authentication policy Rajiv auth policy has been created. Let me particularly list down the policy and see if it's valid or not. You can see the Rajiv auth policy is created under this database, right? And now if I want to see for the detail around this policy, I can execute this information schema policy reference. Alright, so it's not showing me. Okay, let me quickly grab this. Alright, it's not showing me because I have not applied. Alright, so let me quickly go and create a user called Rajiv Gupta. For this user also I am not creating any password, and the type of this user is personal, so that means it's a human account. So now you can see the user has been created. Let me quickly list down the user and see the details around the user. So you can see Rajiv Gupta has been created just now, and if I move towards the end you can see the type of the user is person and password has false, so that means this account doesn't have any password, so I can't connect to this user using any password. So now what I will do is I will just set the authentication policy which I created over here to particular user. So let me just first apply this authentication policy to particular user. Oh sorry, I need to use the correct username. Alright, so you can see that statement executed successfully. Now if I go here and execute this, so before going here let me just try to execute this again and see if it's showing me in detail or not. Alright, now once I applied this to a particular user, now it's showing me that this is the policy database, policy schema, policy name, policy kind. So you can see the policy kind is authentication policy, and you can see all the other details around this, and the status is active, right? So now if I go here and alter the user to add the PAT for a particular user, and the name of the PAT is PAT Rajiv Gupta. So let me execute this and you will see that the expiry of particular PAT will be 1 day. Let me quickly grab the password first. Alright, this is from the old demo. Let me just alright, now if I go here and list down the PAT for a particular user, it will show me one PAT which is PAT Rajiv Gupta. You can see over here, and the expiry is tomorrow because this is enforced by this authentication policy where I have said default expiry in this is 1. So if I don't provide anything explicitly while creating the PAT, it will create with the default. So now if I want to unset this authentication policy from a particular user, I can do that, right? And say example, I want to unset this authentication policy from this user. Let me quickly grab here and come here, and let me just list down here, grab the name from here. Oh sorry, right? So let me unset this. Now if I go again And if I say example want to add again pat for a particular user, you will see the default expiry date will be for 15 days. Already exist. All right, let me quickly, oh sorry, I didn't removed ultra user. Okay, sorry, I removed from different user. Let me just grab and all right, so let me go again and execute this now. It will execute successfully. It will give me the password. Let me grab this password again. Okay, and then if I go and say list down the pat for particular user, it will show me one with an expiry date of 15 days, because now this is not governed by authentication policy. This is what we wanted to showcase today in this demo. Thank you.